A very good morning and welcome to Smart Men's Business. I'm Andrew Bariji. Today is the 25th that's of October, and it's exactly 2 minutes past the hour of 7 a.m. A good morning. I officially welcome you to this episode of Smart Men's Business, where we go through today's previous news stories that are making headlines that's in the world of business. And of course, quite more will be expected as we shall be examining the state of unemployment in Uganda. And also we shall go down to have an insight regarding the East African Court, the East African Community Court in regards to that. And also looking at the aspect of transformation that's of food systems in Uganda. And also we shall come down to review the import substitution. And of course, trying to review the different strategies being put in place to ensure that the imports are really on an increase to ensure economic growth and development. And of course, don't forget Channel 394 Go TV, Channel 372 on the STV, and on our social media platforms at Smart24 TV Twitter, Smart24 TV Facebook, and Smart24 TV Live, as you will be in position to view us at whatever part of the globe you will be at. And Zabu is right there for you to ensure that your trading experience is made really much more easier, as you will be in position to buy stocks. That's on all text. You just dial *292#, and you'll be availed with a variety of options, and you will select what really works better for you in that regard. And of course, you will be able to earn a side income. You can do this at whatever part of the country you are, no matter, and you will be in position to withdraw your money instantly, just in case you need it at any time. All right, and now let's get straight to the news recap. What's making headlines in the world of business? But firstly, we examine the state of unemployment in Uganda, and according to the research that is carried out by Trading Economics, it is projected by Uganda's unemployment rate will grow by 3.10% come the year 2022, towards the end of 2022. Let's have the details of this report.
Dr. Henry Clark Kisembo said that while unemployment has been for a long time and is only expected to rise, Ugandans shouldn't be concerned about it, but instead they could take advantage of their natural resources to make a living and fight unemployment.
Unemployment is not a new phenomenon, and it should not be a cause for alarm. Even if 2021 it was at 2.9, about that, right? Then it's projected to go to 3.01 by the end of 2022. This is a country that it has natural resources. Natural resources involves even those the work that people used to think is for just the peasants, the poor. Agriculture, for example, is the most paying work that any youth can think about. You can earn from agriculture as long as you have the skills. But also, even if you don't have the skills, you can go to vocational training. It's no longer shame to have a degree and then you go for vocational skills training. Government has put together programs, but for example, the parish development model, and also there was the youth development program. You find the women development program. So all these are projects which are meant to enhance employment levels.
The unemployment rate should be reduced by young people becoming skilled and imaginative rather than waiting for the government to provide work for them.
We have started skilling the youth. There's nothing for free. I want the youth to be skilled, whereby they can become entrepreneurs. That's the best way to go than asking government to give you jobs. There's no job that the government is going to give you. Be creative, be an entrepreneur, and start your business. Get skilled, because most of them don't want to get skilled. You should get skilled in a particular, either in carpentry, mechanics, in welding, or something. At least you have a skill into something, whereby that's the way to go.
The population of Uganda, which is 77% under 30, is expected to double between 2020 and 2060. There aren't enough jobs available. The rate of youth unemployment is currently high and will go up as the population increases.
unemployment in Uganda, and of course largely affected by the youth because majority are not really employed despite the fact that they are qualified. But of course there is the urgency of them to ensure that they actually create their own jobs because the jobs might not be really, they may not be in position to actually get them like the way they really expect. Remember, quite a lot of graduates on a daily basis graduate annually, quite so many, and imagine this number is always increasing, compounding, so you find that it makes job acquisition quite inevitable for the youths, and quite a few lucky ones are actually able to make them to get these jobs. So there is that aspect that they should really invest, as of course the different experts have been encouraging them. According to the report here, the projections made by the trading economics, global macro models and analysts, the unemployment rate in Uganda will be at 3.10%. That's by the end of 2022. We are almost coming to the end. We are almost the end of there, so we expect that it's always, these are always projections, and they always depend on what is going on. They are like the current circumstances, let me say that, to ensure that they come up with these statistics. And on an average, it is predicted that unemployment would trend between, that's 2.70% and 2.90%. That's between 2030 and 2040. So definitely, this is quite a small figure, 2.270%. And also 2.90% is less as compared to 3.10%. So you can see there will be a decrease of course, in unemployment rate. So that's quite a positive projection, I'll say that. And that's really quite remarkable. But of course, like the different stakeholders have been emphasizing the aspect of making sure that you actually go create these jobs. Remember, when you go to school, you get this education. It's not just for you to be employed by somebody, but you can use the very education that you attained to create something of your own. You can create what we call, you create the magic, you go think beyond. So that's what makes the difference between the most wealthiest people in the world and of course what we call the middle class. It comes with the ability on how you use the knowledge that you have attained and you actually make it to absolute use to ensure that it makes quite a lot of sense. I know it's never an easy journey and it's never really that obvious like you might expect, but of course it comes back with aggressive efforts and also the fact that you have to believe in yourself that you can actually do this. That's the only way out of that you're going to be in position to improve your life as a youth. Right there, you improve your livelihood as a youth. And also it's very important that when you go to the education, when you attain this education system, you are into the system to ensure that you don't just go through the system, but let it be for your own good. Don't just study to pass. Yes, because if you study just to get the best grades, you will be among those people that are on the line, are searching for the job. So remember that you are there for yourself to ensure that you can actually be a better person of you. Otherwise, the trend might get you among, and you're part of that 3.10% that are actually looking for jobs. So that is something you can really look through, and it can be of great benefit to you as a youth out there. Okay, and away from that, let's get to the matters of the East African Community Court. And according to the report here, the second annual East African Court of Justice Judicial Conference is set for the 26th till the 28th of October 2022. That's in Kampala, Uganda, to bridging the access to justice gap. Bridging access to the justice gap for cross-border trade disputes in preparation for the conference. Therefore, the judge president of the East African Community Court, that's His Lordship Nesta Chovera, touched a base at Entebbe International, accompanied by the vice president, that's of the East African Court of Justice. Let's have the details of this report.
Country to host the second annual East African Court of Justice Judicial Conference after Bujumbura did so Last year is Uganda. According to a report on Smart 24 TV that aired on October 14th, the Deputy Prime Minister responsible for East African Affairs, Honorable Rebecca Kadaga, confirmed this in her statements.
East African Court of Justice will be convening in Uganda from the 1st of November to the 30th to hear new cases, but also to hear appeals and to deliver rulings.
When His Lordship Nostro Kayobera, the Judge President of the East African Community Court, arrived at Entebbe International Airport, he briefed the media on the need for financing for the East African Court of Justice to expedite its judicial duties.
Yes. It's about case in other cases. So partner says I bring our judgment. So the court has powers. What we require is only that the court be given the administrative and the financial autonomy. That's only what we require from the heads of state, from the Council of Ministers, to give the court the financial and the administrative autonomy. Until today, with the 20 years into existence, the court does not have financial and administrative autonomy.
When asked if the conference will address case backlog issues affecting not only Uganda but also other East African member states, His Lordship Kayobera responds that this can only be addressed once the East African Court is permanently seated rather than working on ad hoc basis.
Of course, it's there. And the backlog being there is not the issue of judges. It's about the partner assess, the Council of Ministers, and the summit. So in order to resolve the issue of backlog, it's the summit. They have to make the court permanent. The court is not permanent. We are sitting only on ad hoc. So even when we have come here, I'm sure we will not resolve the issue of backlog. The issue of backlog will be only resolved when the service of judges will be permanent. Of course, some cases will be handled here. Because, for example, from the first instance, we have more than 20 cases. In April, we have more than 16 cases. But I'm sure, from even when we were here, cases are being filed to our court. So the issue of resolving the backlog is not only by coming here. It is by giving the court the permanence to be in the court be permanent. That's why we resolve the issue of backlog.
As of right now, Uganda has a total case backlog of 50,592 cases, projecting 30.11% of the 168,007 pending cases. As of March 2018, 141,107 cases across all court levels in Tanzania had been resolved as a result of efforts by the judiciary to reduce the backlog. Several themes, including the following, will be discussed during the second judicial conference. One is the significance of the national and regional courts in closing the access to justice gap for cross-border trade disputes. Another one is equal protection under the law and easy access to justice, taking down obstacles in national and regional courts, among others.
Okay, away from that, let's head to transformation of food systems. As this time around, we look at Pelham Uganda organizing an agroecology week, and in this aspect, there is an emphasis in the usage of organic food substances, and also accompanied with, of course, indigenous and traditional food markets. Let's have the details of this report.
Agroecology is a study and body of practices that examines how various elements of the agricultural ecosystem interact. It aims to develop sustainable agriculture methods that maximize and stabilize yield. GMOs, or genetically modified organisms, were created to improve agriculture and boost the production of food, both in terms of quality and quantity. However, the claim that GMOs will increase wealth, eradicate poverty, and ensure food security is one that stirs debate. Some civil society organizations are relieved that General Kaguta Museveni, the president of Uganda, has not given his approval to the genetically modified bill that was presented to him. This is consistent with the false perception that genetically modified organisms are primarily concerned with ensuring food security and survival.
Be told, as Pelham Uganda, we stand and still maintain that our stand is no to GMOs. And why we are saying this is because of the impact of GMOs in terms of seed sovereignty, in terms of trade, and in terms of the impact it will have in terms of dependency on the GMO manufacturers and the people that are benefiting from the GMO trade. We do not want a scenario where our farmers are continuously buying seed from the likes of Monsanto and all the others that are promoting and manufacturing GMOs for the African countries. We know that this has got mainly terminated genes, and as people that are promoting agroecology, we believe in ecosystem balance, we believe in biodiversity, we believe in synergy building, we believe in harnessing our indigenous knowledge and heritage.
The food fair, which brings together a variety of stakeholders under the theme Indigenous Food Systems, Building Resilience in Nutrition, aims to raise awareness about the business opportunities in agroecology, forge connections in the market, and among other things, to expand the market for ecological products.
The objective of this event is basically to provide a platform to synergize and also discuss issues that are affecting the transformation of our food systems through scaling up agroecology. One of the side events will be targeting or will focus on agroecology for climate action. This will be spearheaded by Action Aid. We want to bring out the farmers' voices on how farmers have used agroecology for climate resilience. Systems and agroecology, this is where we want to talk about seed sovereignty, because for us, agroecology is all about the right to seed and the right to food. So this is where we want to present the farmers' petition in line to agroecology promotion in Uganda. We've been tripling with to see how do we ensure that we have adequate finances for the sector, but specifically now for agroecology, we're looking at transforming our food systems. And agroecology, this is the way to go. So this is an opportunity for us as duty bearers, but also as advocates. How do we advocate for a total transformation of our food systems? Because we all know the challenges that we are having with the industrialized food system that we are having at the end of the day, but also the challenges that climate change has brought amidst us.
Youth and female engagement in agroecology has been implemented, and many have been urged to arm themselves with information for this lucrative endeavor.
You see the target now through the National Organic Agriculture, through the National Agricultural Policy, through the National Development Plan 3 for Uganda. The emphasis is involvement of youth more into initiatives of agriculture.
We will have most youth being able to exhibit and showcase the various innovations that they have been able to develop. And this is now going to be an integrated kind of approach. We have the innovations coming from Kenya, Rwanda, and Ethiopia, and as well as Uganda. Let them be able to demonstrate that they are able actually to contribute to the economy of our countries and be able to position themselves to find employment gainfully in the agroecology business.
Specifically to the women who are basically do much of the labor in terms of production, but the return on investment is very minimal. So this is a platform, to showcase what our women do or our mothers do in a day-to-day.
Participants in this food fair will be able to relive their tradition, learn about the development of our food systems, and re-establish the preservation and consumption of native foods. With the beginning of the My Food is African campaign, this will be crowned.
Indigenous and traditional food systems have been as significant a source of health deity that guarantees both societal stability and access to food nutrients. With the increase in food security, the importance of the organic food system, and of course Pelham Uganda organized an agroecology week that is emphasizing on indigenous and traditional food markets right there. And of course you had a statement being said by one of the stakeholders, eliminating the usage of the genetically modified organisms, of course, due to their effects of course, on the, regarding to health, and they also lack nutrients, I'll say that, and also looking at the aspect of the fact that they are very expensive. And remember, when you plant the seeds and you harvest, you can't replant them again. So that means there is going to be a lot of dependency that's from other countries. So you can see that's why it's very necessary to ensure that there is total elimination of such in the food system. All right, and now we wind up the recap as we look at the import substitution. While there are implications in importation, Uganda is the largest importer of hair wigs and accounts for 769 shipments. His Excellency the President of Uganda expressed his dissatisfaction with how much is spent that's on the importation of these human hair wigs and other false hair extensions through several media channels. However, how can the country thrive when there are imbalances in the sector? Let's have the details.
Import substitution is an economic policy that advocates for replacing foreign imports with domestic production. Now recently, while His Excellency was commissioning a leather factory in Luweero district, he mentioned that instead of focusing more on value addition in agriculture products, Ugandans continue to import hair of dead people, that is human hair, that's how he referred to it. But in this story, we ascertain to the fact that human hair is indeed a market chain, and actually Ugandans are benefiting from it. We do have more.
He has groundwork. When someone tells him or her that Mr. President, people, they import human hair for dead people from Europe, so he hates that. It's like the time he hated Mivumba, old clothes. So here, you see, we have only even one building selling those things for the ladies. The hair, what, nails. It's only, I think, Gatherland and Cornerstone. They are only the buildings where they sell those wigs. But for me, or for us, we traders, we need to get money.
Wholesalers of hair extensions in Uganda buy their hair from suppliers in Vietnam, India, China for resale. Or to put it in another way, there are no wholesale hair providers in Uganda because the population has coarse, brittle and thin hair. Despite the fact that Ugandans have hair, these companies do not collect hair from them. Selling wholesale hair extensions in Uganda is a lucrative industry that is currently growing significantly. Since Asian hair is easier to style than hair from other locations, the majority of wholesale hair dealers who sell their hair extensions in Uganda prefer to import their hair from other Asian countries. Data from the Trade Economy Portal reveals the top trading partners of human hair wigs, false beards, eyebrows, eyelashes, switches and the like. China with a share of 53%, that's about 1.12 million US dollars. Tanzania with a share of 33%, that's 713,000 US dollars. Kenya with a share of 11.1%, $235,000. Nigeria with a share of 1.06, 22,000 US dollars. South Sudan 6.2 US dollars, USA that is 3.4 US dollars, Indonesia 945 US dollars, Canada 365 US dollars, United Kingdom 306 US dollars, Hong Kong 271 US dollars. The price of wholesale hair in Uganda is nearly always much more than in other nations because the majority of suppliers are resellers. According to a human hair trader, this business is profitable and the hair extensions are cost-effective, long-lasting and user-friendly.
And like 5 to 6 M, you can get a profit of 2.5. Yeah, it is very saving. And there we've got some ladies in the villages who don't even work. So she can get one human wig in 5 years. So I think the government should not abolish human wigs since they are very good, and it helps ladies to save too. They don't spend a lot of money in printing hair, every month going to the saloon. So I think they are very good.
The government has received continual advice regarding import substitution, which is founded on the idea that a nation should endeavor to decrease its reliance on foreign sources by industrializing domestic production of goods.
And that's the business report we had for you this morning. Of course, that's for the news recap of what's making headlines into the world of business. And maybe if you just joined us, just to give you a highlight of where we started from, we reviewed a report regarding unemployment state in Uganda, and of course the research done by the World Trade, that's economics, Trading Economics Global, predicting that Uganda's unemployment rate will be at 3.10%, by the end of this year, 2022. Then we came down to the matters of the East African Court, and then we reviewed something regarding transforming food, that's the food systems, and of course where there is emphasis on indigenous and traditional food systems to be used in such a time due to the rise in food security. And we came all the way down to the import substitution. All right, and that's it for the news recap this morning. Let's get into a short commercial break. SMB returns.